YouTube, what's going on? It's your boy, Buddha, back in the building. I never left. I'm so sorry to all of you who may have gotten a bit scared from my little April Fool's trick, prank, whatever you want to call it this morning. I just couldn't help myself. I couldn't resist. I was in the shower and I was like, what would be a good little trick to play on the squad, the Buddha gang today? And I gotta say, it was a blast. Thank y'all for providing me with just as much entertainment as I hope I'm giving back to you. Oh, but this is just another video as usual. Nothing trickster, nothing tricky about this one. We've got a Q&A with the devs, well, specifically with Take-san tomorrow, April 2nd. They announced it a couple days ago, and as usual, the LC main Discord puts up a Q&A question prep page where we have the option for, I don't know how long, I think it was up for maybe 24 hours, maybe 48, somewhere in there. We have the opportunity to place preset questions here, and then you can kind of upvote the ones. And then these are the questions that Take-san is hopefully going to take in the beginning, I think like 15-20 minutes of the Q&A to address, I guess, some of the hot topics. All the questions that are pre-laid out are going to be here already. I went ahead and looked through them, marked the ones that I wanted to address in this video, just to give a little heads up that this Q&A is coming. And these are some of the questions that I would like to see addressed personally. I think a lot of the community is interested in them as well. You can see 8 p.m. PT. So for me, I believe 4 hours ahead is what, 12 a.m. Yeah, I'm not going to be awake for this, so there's not going to be a live reaction. I'll probably do a follow-up on the actual Q&A the day after, and hopefully just hit the key pointers from it. So the first question that I found interesting was from Throne right here. I marked all of mine with a little yin-yang symbol. Would you consider optimizing Autorun in the future so that we'd be able to skip over the menus in fights for more efficient farming? A summary could be listed at the end of an Autorun period detailing the drops, ether, exp, skills learned to make up for the lack of menus. I have seen this in other games before, so I know it's possible, but I do believe it would take, some concentrated effort for AIDIS to pull this off. As it is now, if someone can clear a stage in 20 seconds, they will have to sit through another 20 seconds of menus, having the amount of runs that they could clear if they were playing. So this actually was brought up in the last Q&A, and I don't know if Take-san didn't really understand the question or what happened, but he thought someone was saying, hey, can you make the battles shorter? That's not what we're asking. The battles can still take place for 20 seconds if need be. It's just that auto tapping of menu screens. It would help out a ton considering how long it already takes to do things like ether farming and ether grinding. Just cutting out that menu page navigation could increase results by a lot and would make a lot of people happy. Like I said, the more that gets introduced to the game, the more you need to provide in regards to material farming, and that can be through speeding up the process to gain materials. So I think it's totally appropriate and could make a huge difference. The next question is from the user who I am just going to call Bonk. Excluding units that can be obtained in-game via story completion, which is aka the main cast and Zlorg, monster shard farming and quests as of 30th March 2021, there are 29 permanent units in the pool versus 35 limited time units, of which 17 are DOH, 3 are seasonal, and 15 are collab. That means approximately 55% of the pool is time limited. With the inevitable addition of the second anniversary unit, this gap will become even greater. And then what are the plans to address this, if there are any? I'm just interested to see if Take-san addresses this or what the thoughts are on this, because I think from a general stance, it makes sense not to completely drown out your game with limited time units. It just leaves a bad taste in a lot of players' mouth. However, AIDIS is going to do whatever makes them money. I just thought it was interesting that we now have a numerical amount of the offset in front of us, because AIDIS went kind of crazy just pooping out DOH units at the end of 2020. So I want to see if they're going to kind of change their trajectory, or if we're just going to end up with a ton of characters that people get to look at because they're no longer available. The more new players start to join, you know, that just kind of stinks if you know, like, your chances of getting older characters, which can be power crept, but a lot of the characters are still very relevant. So it stinks to look back and just know that you're not going to get it anytime soon. All right, the third question I noticed was from Smacks. Can we see a new wave of low-tier arcs, SR and R, with low ranks of modern skills, such as Fighting Spirit 1 or 2? I really like that idea. Those Fighting Spirits, Arcane ups, those are the combinations of, like, I think that is Strength and HP, if I'm not mistaken. Arcane up is Intelligence and Mind, or MP. It's a combination of 2 out of your 5 skills. So I would like to see some lesser renditions like that. And I think new SR and R arcs have been a hot topic since I joined the game. AIDIS has been completely slacking on introducing more of those into the game, so it would be nice to take this recommendation, because that's a brilliant idea to introduce new SR and R arcs, just lower tiers of these modern, like, very good skills that we see a lot of characters come with now. The initial philosophy was that arcs would be central to gameplay, not so much units, but it seems this changed early on and became very much unit focused. Evident recently by the non-stop DOH and collab releases. I mean, like I said, it really sucks and it leaves a bad taste in everyone's mouth, but I imagine units sell a lot more than arcs, especially as a new player. You don't realize how useful arcs are until you get kind of to mid and late game, in my opinion. So, you know, business-wise, it makes sense why the game has shifted its focus like that, but I agree, it does suck. All right, some of these names I believe have been changed in tribute for today's April Fool's whole thing. A lot of people are Sahagins now, but this one by Super Sahagin. Can we get a bit more crystal income sources? Dailies plus login does give around 6k crystals per month, but we get many more banners than 6k crystals could ever hope to make a dent on. I mean, that's 2 multi-summons. That's 2 10 spins, which is just laughable when you're talking about free crystal output monthly. 6k is absolutely nothing. So again, it's interesting to put a number to how much is available to your end game users. This is another thing that AIDIS has kind of said, you know, we're always striving to improve. Look out for future plans. So they never address this question correctly, but I will highlight it every time, because eventually you got to give us something. You got to give us substance, or else she's going to piss everybody off, which they've already done time and time again. Here was an interesting one. When subscription monthly will be released? And how about we make weekly reward arena like another game, 7 Deadly Sins? Because end account didn't have crystal anymore. Thanks for attention. Amen. Thank you for the question. So, I mean, this kind of ties into Super Sagahin's question up here. He offers that weekly reward arena aspect, which I think is an incredible way to keep your end game player on your game, because it incentivizes them to actually participate in arena, which is technically a never-ending game mode. And they can actually get rewarded for doing that by getting, you know, weekly or even monthly. No, I like weekly better. Weekly crystals per their arena ranking, or however, just like I said, 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross does that as well, and it's very rewarding. And then, yeah, they promised this subscription service. I know multiplayer did just happen, and that was kind of the last note they left off of, is all these things we've talked about have been pushed to the back burner until multiplayer gets resolved. So we'll see. I hope they, you know, address these things in a little more detail this time around, since we did have our first wave of multiplayer go around. I'm hoping they are like, okay, now we can shift gears post 2nd year anniversary. I'm interested to see if they have any further details to share with us. I actually posted a question that does seem to be getting some traffic, so I'm happy a lot of people agree with me. I tried to keep it short and to the point. Is there any hope of getting AI strategy options in PvE like we have in Arena, i.e. prioritize skill 1, healing magic, you could do ice magic, dark magic, etc. That is an extremely useful AI function that I know would make a lot of people, including myself, very happy in PvE and story and events, because your AI are totally uncontrollable. Whenever you're running anything in your PvE content, it can be extremely frustrating when you just want your character to spam a certain skill or spell and they're just wasting time auto attacking, spamming other spells. So then you got to take off debuffs and whatever to make your spellcaster cast a certain spell, remove skill charges to make your unit use his skill 2 instead of his skill 1. So it's just a lot of headache and tedious arranging of skills when a simple function that already exists in the game could just be transferred over into PvE and it would resolve a lot of that headache. So I really hope Taka-san addresses this. Hopefully we could just get an easy answer like we did last time and he could just be like, yes, we'll do it. All right, here is another question from Mahogany. Can we get exact percentages and skill descriptions instead of just a generic, vague statement on what the skill does? We should not have to figure this information out through data mines. Just a couple of in-game examples include Thaumaturgy Ring. No idea what percentage of int is converted as the skill doesn't state it at all. To piggyback off that, not only does we don't know what percentage it scales. Well, we do if you look at the data mines or ask tweaks like I did. But also it says magic power. It doesn't say int. That's another thing that had to be tested and figured out. It doesn't say percentage of attack power scales off int. It says a percentage of your attack power scales off your magic power or something like that, or a percentage of your physical damage. It doesn't even explain what stat is affecting the result, so they definitely need to work on that. The poses skills, recent example being Diabolos, where we all had to wait to figure out the percentage chance of activation of elemental res bypassed by DeGrogue. This is unacceptable as it has the capacity to fool players into thinking something is different than what it actually is, either worse or better, and can affect whether someone ends up investing/pulling for the unit or arc. Facts, Mahogany. That is facts. Crypt said it best. At this point, with LC's track record, they need an entirely new translation team, because I imagine they do a lot of basic translations from the Japanese text to, English, and it just does not work in a lot of situations, and it causes a lot of messes and headaches that they could avoid if they just maybe took a little extra time to translate and put those percentage numbers and exact effects in the description. So I think it's definitely something AIDIS should read and consider strongly. And finally, from our boy, Hero Reborn Sahagin, which I believe is Kalphanite with his name changed. Or not, I may be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's who this is. Could we get a roadmap for what is planned for the rest of the year? I feel like he's a little hopeful that AIDIS has that all planned out. However, I will just take roadmaps, monthly roadmaps, or, roadmaps that explain the next couple months, few months, any kind of teaser, as he says right here, would be appreciated. The roadmap for the Dr. Stone collab was incredible, so I just hope they keep up that. And then here, Envy is closing the channel for review before the Q&A tomorrow. I'm excited to read it. I'll be tucked into bed when it's actually going on live, and I don't plan on staying up based on the previous Q&As. However, I'm excited to wake up the following day and see what was addressed. Hopefully, we get something good, because it's usually a lot of just nonsense. But every once in a while, there are a couple gems that come from these Q&As. So I'm going to stay hopeful and look forward to it. What do you guys think? Are you excited? Are there some questions here that you didn't see me address that you are actually really interested in? Let me know in the comments, and we'll see, because there's always the viewer Q&A segment where they can bring up a lot more questions that Taka-san does respond to. It'll be interesting. So I am going to edit this video, post it up, and hope y'all have been having a fun April Fool's. Hope no one's pranking you too bad and making you sad. Just remember, let it roll off the shoulders, because it's a day of tomfoolery. Okay. And with that being said, y'all know what I say. Work hard, play harder. See you in the next video.